Okay, we're going to continue on with the civil rights movement, look at the nonviolent aspect of the movement, and really see how this starts at the bottom and works its way up. Okay, so when you look at this quote here, all right, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. This is on the poster in my room, you probably never noticed it. When you think about what this means, all right, if you have a fire, you know the saying, you can't fight fire with fire. They have a fire, okay, stuff that's going on in the civil rights movement, the way blacks are being treated in the South. If you just add more fire to it, it's just going to make the problems worse. And this is really Dr. King's message, going back to the ideas of Gandhi and Henry David Thoreau and the Transcendentalists and this civil disobedience to kind of fight hate with love. And we're going to see that here, all right? So we're going to take a look at the bus boycott. We're going to do some stuff with this in class. You have Rosa Parks, December 1st, 1955. It's orchestrated. She knew what she was doing. She knew she was going to get arrested. She worked for civil rights groups, the NAACP. She refuses to give up her seat, and this is going to spark the boycott. So the Rosa Parks is the one-day event. The boycott is kind of the bigger picture of things. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, it's still around today, the NAACP, sponsors this boycott. It's going to be a one-day boycott. It goes on for over a year, okay? And what happens is the NAACP needs a leader, okay? They're going to contact a young reverend from Atlanta, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, again, you think of, normally you think of Martin Luther King Jr., he's this figure, he's older, he's like your dad or your grandpa. He's 26 years old when he comes in. All right, he's going to organize this boycott, giving speeches, getting the rallies going as a 26-year-old young man. All right, you think of leadership qualities, it's something you're born with, and Dr. King definitely has that. So they're going to file a lawsuit against the bus company and boycott, nonviolent. Okay, why not just go in and slash the tires and burn the buses down? No, that's not gonna fix anything. Okay, so the buses, kind of how this is set up, 75% of the passengers on the buses in Montgomery, Alabama are black. Okay, when they boycott for over a year, 42,000 black people boycott. They don't take the buses. They walk, carpool, bike, go other means. They don't take the buses. And you think about buses driving around town like this, that's going to not take long before they're going to give in. Okay, and that's what's going to happen. Supreme Court orders the buses need to be integrated, and this is a win for the civil rights movement. They didn't have to shoot anybody, kill anybody, do anything violent. Non-violence. Okay, this is all about nonviolence. So the bus boycott, again, we'll look at it more in detail in class. Okay, so you have the Supreme Court case we looked at, Brown versus Board. Separate but equal is not equal, and now you have to enforce it. And we looked at, first 10 years, only 2% of blacks are in integrated schools. That means 98% are in all black schools. Well, what's going to happen when they try to integrate? You're going to have problems, okay? So, like I said, after Brown versus Board, few southern schools integrate, and what happens is this crisis in Little Rock, Arkansas. You have the governor of Arkansas. You have 9 students set to go into Central High School, and the governor of Arkansas, Orville Faubus, says, no, we're not doing this. We're not integrating. Blacks and whites will not be in the same schools under my watch, and turns away the black students. Okay. Now, anytime you have the state trying to kind of overrule the federal government, our government's a federal government that top down. Washington, D.C. is the federal. Anytime they make a ruling, everyone else has to follow it. If a state doesn't follow it, the federal government's going to come in and tell them what to do. And this is what happens. Eisenhower brings in the National Guard, the Army paratroopers, to guard these students so they can go into this all-white school. Okay. You see, like I said here, you have literally troops following them into school, sitting in the back of their classrooms, following them in the halls to make sure they're not harassed, they're not beaten up, they're not kicked out of school. Okay. And this, again here, walking to and from class with armed rifles. You think about, why is education such a big deal? We talked about this the other day, Brown versus Board. It's all about education. Education is power. You know, knowledge is power. If we can keep blacks from getting education, they won't get the power. And this is still the issue today. All right. So why would these people need armed, you know, paratroopers to put them in school? Is because the whites in the South do not want to have blacks educated on the same level as whites. All right. You see him here. I think he got a little poke in his. This guy's probably, his name is Butch or something. You know, and you think about this. You know, is any law going to change her heart? You can make laws all you want, but the root of these problems, the root of the racism and the history of discrimination, you know, any law, it's not going to do anything. I mean, these people have to be. It's going to take time. Okay, you know, I'm a Packer fan, all right? And if they made a law that said you have to be a Bears fan, you have to wear Bears stuff, you have to watch Bears games, I'd be like, screw that, I'm not watching the stupid Bears. You know, and that's just a football game, all right? If they make laws that are about racial issues, these people are like, screw that, I'm not going to just like black people because you told me to. It's going to take a lot of time, okay? There's no law that's going to change her heart, all right? And you can see here, many years later, after apologizing, and she just, you know, I watched some interview with her, and she said, this is just the way it was. We were trained from a young age that blacks were inferior, that they're not as smart, they're not as good, they're almost not human, okay? And thankfully, she's changed her tune, and you could see them there, you know, reconciling and accepting the apology, okay? So what all of these, the civil rights movement is a grassroots movement, okay? When you think about the triangle of society, you have the top and then you have the bottom, all right? There's more people on the bottom. Grassroots movements start at the bottom and go up. This is what is the civil rights movement. It's not a top-down thing. I mean, anytime you're going to have rapid, big change in society, it's got to come from the masses, the people. You can make laws and you can do this and that, but if the people aren't supporting it on the bottom of this triangle, forget about it. And this is what the civil rights movement is. It is a grassroots movement. Where's the grass? At the bottom, okay? You think about your yard, okay? You have tons of grass and maybe a couple trees and a couple flowers. Societies like that. There's a ton of kind of lower class people, only a few rich people, and this is, it moves its way up. Another thing that's going to help this movement spread is the TV, okay? Before you hear about what's going on, again, the 50s is when everyone starts to get TVs in their home. Now people are seeing what's going on. They're watching it on the news. They're seeing people get sprayed with fire hoses, and it really wakes up most Americans about, in the North especially, what's going on, okay? Again, nonviolent sit-ins, these people getting water, food poured on their head. They just sit there. It's all nonviolent, okay? All nonviolent. The next group here, this group of freedom riders, what happens is the Supreme Court says that you cannot segregate bus stations, okay? So this group comes from Washington, D.C. It says, let's load up some buses and let's see if they're for real, okay? So they load up buses in Washington, D.C. with whites and blacks, and they're going to go down south, and they're going to test this law, okay? So they start in D.C. They're pretty much okay until they get to Alabama, and this is where violence erupts, okay? Buses are burned, okay? I think this is going to be goofy. It kind of goes away, and I'll get in class. Buses are burned. They're bombed. The people are beat up. The riders are beat up. See if you can pause this right when it goes away. Right? Pause it. Okay, the people are beaten. And really, again, brings the national attention. So you can see Washington, D.C. going down. They get to Alabama. The buses are burned. The people are beaten up, taken out, you know, just hammered. And President Kennedy is going to have to step in. All right? He says, this is a federal law. Anytime the federal government makes a law and the states aren't following it, the federal government's going to come in. Okay? Comes in again with troops to guard these people so they're not attacked at these bus stations. And again, if you're seeing the moral of the story here, federal trumps state. And this, again, is making people pay attention nationally. Okay, holy crap, it's that bad in Alabama. These people are getting bombed and almost killed for riding a stupid bus. This is pretty serious. Okay, and it is. Again, you see here, bombed, and they have to have guards just so they can be in the bus stations. I mean, it's pretty intense. All right. Now, Alabama is kind of the ground zero, and Birmingham, Alabama is the most segregated city in America. All right, bombings, lynchings, it's the worst of the worst. Okay, now they're going to call in Martin Luther King Jr. because, you know, Dr. King kind of bounced around. Whenever they needed him, he was the spokesperson. He would go from rally to rally to protest to kind of be this unifying force figure, this leader. And the police brutality in Birmingham is crazy. This is the fire hoses, the police dogs. You know, and Dr. King is brought in and thrown into jail for a sit-in. Now you think about nonviolent protests. What he did, he's about to be arrested, and you think people are, yeah, they're fighting, they don't want to get handcuffed. He says, no, hold up. Before he put the cuffs on, he kneels down in front of the cop that's just arresting him and prays for this cop. All right, I mean, that is some serious stuff. I mean, this guy is no joke. All right, I mean, he's willing to pray for the cop that's about to arrest him for a nonviolent protest. Okay, and he's thrown in jail, and he writes this letter all about civil disobedience. Okay, a letter from a Birmingham jail that if you feel a law is unjust and you feel it is going against your morals and your beliefs, if you can peacefully not follow that law, that is okay. It's called civil disobedience. All right, you can peacefully oppose a law if you feel it's unjust. Okay. And this is his big idea. Again, it's a lot with Gandhi and these nonviolent leaders. But his thing is, you know, I'm not going to follow this law. It's unjust. It's immoral. You know, you think of Dr. King. I mean, that guy had an arrest. He had a rap sheet. Okay, I mean, he got arrested, thrown in jail tons of times. Okay, because he's protesting for these laws that he feels are unjust. All right. Now, again, you see the fire hoses. We'll watch some stuff in class. The dogs attacking these people, and they're just sitting there taking it. Nonviolence, okay? Being thrown in the back of these, these police vans. All right. Now the culmination of this nonviolent movements here, March on Washington. Okay, top down or bottom up. You want to get the top people to recognize your cause. 250,000 black and white Americans are going to march on Washington to get a civil rights bill passed. Okay, so it'll become the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And again, the climax, the I Have a Dream speech, we're not going to look at it. You've seen it since third grade, memorized it. The big thing is that they can get this many people united for one cause to go to the Capitol for this common cause. Okay. Again, whites, blacks, everybody united for the same cause. The climax of the speech, this I Have a Dream speech, he's using the Bible, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. These are all sources that are very powerful, that Americans really hold dear to themselves. And talks about this world where blacks and whites can coexist. I mean, look at our classroom. We got blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians. I mean, we got everybody in here. Okay. And this is what we look at, you know, is Dr. King's speech, did it come true? Okay, yes, we have racism, yes, we have issues. Is his dream fully fulfilled? All right, and we'll talk about this in class. Yeah, I hope you had a good day and a good night, and peace out.